Hey everyone, today we're joined with Anca Amariei. So she is a certified yoga teacher, trauma-informed yoga teacher, almost certified yoga therapist, a breath coach, a mental health first aider, and she's here to talk with us about bringing yoga therapy into new places like Romania, which is where she's from. And also we're going to talk about how we do a yoga therapy session. So the first session is usually with a very deep intake to really get to the root of the cause of imbalances. And so welcome and thank you for being here, Anca. And please tell me about your story. How did you get to yoga and how did it evolve into yoga therapy?
Hi everyone, and thanks for having me, Shira. So for me, the yoga journey began in a very personal way. I was 23 back then, so I'm 32 now. You make the count. It started with me being in huge pain. Actually, I was experiencing very severe headaches at that time. I was working a lot, even if I was very young, 23. I was already working for 5 years. I've started working since my faculty. I was in the corporate world back then, working for a telecom company and experiencing for a long period, a few days in a row, headaches. So I started asking myself what happens. I thought it's something super serious. So when this thought came to my mind, I realized I need to go to the doctor. So this is how I got to a neurologist who made a few tests to see if there's something serious, as I was thinking. But then what she did was to do a sort of a body check. So she checked my shoulders, my cervical area, and she noticed a lot of tension. So she asked a few questions about my lifestyle, how much I'm moving, how much was I working, what kind of things I was doing for myself. And back then I was only preoccupied about my career.
Not your body.
Exactly.
My just body in your head.
Exactly. My body was like, okay, it's there to support what I need to do. So that's all. I don't need to do things for you. It's the mind needs to be constantly challenged, focused. So, she made me realize there was nothing that I was actually doing for myself. It was only a constant rush for me to demonstrate things at work, to be better, to overwork, actually, overachieve, and so on. And she told me that my headaches are coming from the
mental tension.
From the muscles. The muscles were very tense. So she told me, you need to start doing something for yourself, for your body. You are very tense. So you just need to think what's the most suitable thing for you. So I've started trying a few things. I've never been an athlete. I never enjoyed having a regular sports routine. I was the kind of student who was running away from the sports classes in my childhood, also because of the teachers who were very tough on us. So I said, okay, I'll try something which is very low impact. So I've started with a bit of stretching, a bit of dancing, aerobics, and yoga. So I ended up with yoga because I enjoyed a lot of classes, the teacher. The studio was very close to me, so I didn't have to invest a lot of time in commuting and so on.
Very important.
It is a pragmatical thing. So I started going 3 times a week, and in 6 months I've started seeing some results in my posture.
Good.
And then also a bit of change in my mind and the way I was seeing life and so on. So I started it started as a practice for myself, but then I realized I also need to share this because I saw around the issue coming up with more and more people. Not only this kind of issue that I had, but more and more attention. So then I said, I need to teach. I took the teacher training, and then I realized, okay, what's next? The group classes are nice. I go there, I show what I can, I show what's on my mind, I show the plan that I have for the class. But is it really impactful for the audience? Isn't it a bit limiting? Can I do more? So I've started searching. This is how I found the Yoga Therapy Institute in Amsterdam.
Okay.
And I've started the teacher training there in 2019, at the beginning of 2019, and I've finished last year at the end of 2020. As you've mentioned, now I'm in the process of finalizing. I just need to take my final exam. But yeah, it's changed a lot the way I see yoga, the yoga therapy teacher training, and I think it came quite organically, this path from the personal thing, then sharing, and then going into the therapeutical area where I do see the impact of the work.
Yeah. No, I totally agree that there was a time when I was teaching, and even though I had some therapeutics as a background, because I studied with a teacher who was also an Ayurvedic practitioner, and she was a masseur, and she had a clinic, and I interned there and I volunteered there. And even then, you still feel like there are so many things that are contributing to someone's health or not. And we can do as much harm as we can do good, even in just a general yoga class, especially with the bodies who have this kind of tension and bad posture and don't have any idea how to breathe or to be focused on different kinds of things. Yeah, so I really wanted to ask about Romania. How is it in Romania? Is there a lot of choice of yoga? And was this teacher, for example, the first teacher, did you stay with her? Was she a good teacher, or was there other teachers you tried out because you felt you needed to go more in depth?
So yoga here has many labels, let's say. It doesn't have the best reputation because there were some so-called gurus.
Yes.
I
the
think
sexual scandals. No?
Yeah, exactly. So unfortunately, everyone heard about it. It's not only happening in Romania.
I think Agama, was this the name? One of them?
This is one of them, but there are also other ones.
Oh, okay.
So when I started teaching, whenever I said yoga, even when I said yoga to my parents, they were like, "Oh my God, it's dangerous."
It's a cult.
Exactly, that's a cult. That's what's happening to you. Oh, you're on the wrong lane path, exactly, and so on. So there's a lot of bad reputation that we as yoga teachers need to work against, let's say, and to prove that let's see what you know. Let me show you that it's different. The people that do know something about it still believe it's a lot about the physical part, and I think that's fine. It also started as something very physical for myself.
Yeah.
Because I started to improve my posture. But yoga therapy is definitely something super new, and the connection with the medical world, it's not done yet.
So that's what you are trying to bridge now.
Yeah, exactly.
Times.
Exactly. Being the first student at the Yoga Therapy Institute, it's honoring me, that's for sure. It also comes with responsibility. Actually, now at the school, at the Yoga Therapy Institute, there's another Romanian girl who started to study there. So we've connected quite a lot, and we're discussing quite a lot what can we do to get the yoga therapy the place that it deserves.
That's good.
yeah, exactly. It helps having a partner.
Of course, you buzz off each other and you support each other, and one has an idea and the other one does something with the idea, because sometimes you're not confident enough to take it.
Yeah, exactly. With the yoga therapy, the thing that I realized is that I don't need to wait to, you know, the at least for myself, the tendency is I need to wait to be perfect, to know it all, to have it all, to have all the resources, and then I will start. This was my mindset before, and this brought a lot of anxiety.
Of course. Perfectionism.
Exactly. Always having something more to achieve. But then for us, the teacher, Montserrat, our teacher, always encouraged us to share what we know, even if it's something a very, very small step, because it can be a huge step for the others. And actually, this is why I realized what I realized during the pandemics, that sometimes only having the listening skills can be therapeutic for people. And Montserrat is always saying, so if you're only having a conversation with someone and listening, is this yoga therapy? Yes, it can be.
Yeah.
You can have a huge impact with in someone's life. And in this year of COVID, there were many cases when people were only looking into looking for
being
heard. Exactly. Yeah. And all we had to know were a few things from the trauma informed, for example, module, just to know how to speak, just to know how to address a few things. So there are very simple things that we can still do, and that's my learning, that I don't need to wait to know it all. I just need to be owning very well what I know, and then always being open-minded about learning things, learning new things, and having the right network around, the right mentorship, the right colleagues, the right resources.
And asking people if you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wonderful. I wanted to just go back to your mental health first aider. What is that, and what does it entail?
So it's a training that I did, the Mental Health Foundation, which is in the UK. Besides the yoga part, I also have a corporate hat. So my studies are in the communications field. So I'm a PR person, and I also work for a company. Now I'm on maternity leave, but my employer is Discovery. So with Discovery, I've been involved in many well-being initiatives, and I've been an ambassador, an internal ambassador for my colleagues in this area, knowing my passion, and I try to bring my passion also at work. So they invested in a few of us for this kind of training, the mental health first aid. So what we did, we were a group of around 10. We've been trained to how to approach someone who comes and says, okay, I need support, I think I have a mental health issue, or simply I need someone to be there next to me. So we took this training, and we learned about what kind of listening skills we need, how we can guide people, what kind of resources we can offer to people, staying away from, because we're not psychotherapists, that's something different, but being the first point of contact, let's say, for someone who needs support, and then directing them towards the right professionals. So this is what we learned during this. We had a few intense days with a lot of case studies, a lot of conversations. Yeah, a very practical one, with a very, very good trainer, Matthew Holman. If you're gonna hear this, I will just say hi also to Matt. Indeed, he will listen to this, or at least I'll point out the podcast to him.
Yeah, I watched the podcast. It was nice to see, and so I was curious.
Yeah, exactly. And it was good because it was a nice way to bridge the things that I love on a personal level with the things that I need to do at work.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to and it brought me the chance to connect with my colleagues in a different way. So not about the work that we do, but about checking in each other, seeing how we feel. And I've even worked with a few of them, and I've combined the yoga therapy with what I've learned from the mental health first aid training.
Yes, it sounds really good. It sounds like this would also help, especially me, knowing what the scope of practice is sometimes. When are you going over the edge of what a yoga therapist does?
Yeah, definitely. It's a good mix to know
where
also
the boundaries are.
Yeah, exactly. What I can tell you, and the first thing that triggered me when I started doing the mental health first aid training, the first thing that the trainer said is we need to take care of our own mental health before trying to help others.
Yeah, I've already had a burnout, so I know.
Yeah, exactly. It's we forget very often about this, and I've also realized with the yoga therapy that we offer so much with the best intentions, but at some point, the fuel is
finished.
It's not there. It's finished. Yeah. So we also need to be careful about that.
Yeah. What I do now is I wear silver just because silver is reflective. And it's also an intentionality to walk into the space like, I'm here to help you, but I'm not taking your pain, suffering into me, because that's how I started. And yeah, that was a great thing that I learned. I did the therapy training in Australia, and two of these who were mentors there were psychotherapists. And they also taught us a lot about the counseling skills and knowing what the scope of practice is, and also understanding how much you need to take on and where is the boundary between you and that person's problems. Yeah, very important.
Super useful. The Yoga Therapy Institute, there's also a module. Actually, we had two modules. One was the trauma informed one, and the other one was more about the psychological aspects. So super useful. And something that we need to be reminded of more often, because it's the first thing that slips out from our minds as caregivers in whatever the form.
Yeah. So let's move on to so how is yoga therapy unique in its approach to treatment of health and well-being than other modalities? What would you say for you is a core distinction as a therapy?
I think the key difference is made versus the classical yoga is made by the intake.
Okay, but also, I mean, other modalities like psychotherapy or just medicine or physiotherapy, also in this context.
I would say it's the fact that it looks at the person from the 5 koshas point of view. So the physical.
Yeah,
I will explain. So the koshas are the layers that we are all made of. So there are 5 layers. We're like an onion. So the first layer is the physical part, the body that we feel that it's hurting sometimes. Then it's the mind with the emotions, everything that we have on our mind. It's the energetical layer, which is very much linked to the way we sleep, the way we breathe, our digestion, and so on. Then it's the so-called wisdom layer, which is related to the values, the principles of our life. Exactly, the beliefs, sometimes the limiting beliefs that we have, which are impacting.
Usually, and they're the ones causing trouble. Yeah,
and the spiritual one, which is I see it as I said, as an onion. So the surface, but deep down in the center, it's the core, the spiritual,
The
which
seed.
for me, the seed exactly, which for me is linked to the relationship we have with our souls, with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So yoga therapy approaches the person like this. There's no other discipline that goes through all those layers, unless someone wants to have a cross-disciplinary approach, which is perfectly fine.
Well, it's happening now, like this functional medicine. They do psych, microbiome, physical, physiology, endocrine, mind.
Super.
Yeah, it's really great.
That's great. That's great. And also another thing that we've been talking a lot about, it's the salutogenesis. So looking at the health from a proactive perspective, not treating the effects, but looking at preventing a lot, and supporting the someone's health, not when they get to hurt,
to disease. Yeah.
Disease, exactly, because the bridge from ease to unease and disease, they are very, it's very easy to get there. So we want to keep the person in the ease, let's say,
or unease.
Or unease, but we don't want to get to the disease. So if we do things in a proactive way, we are the higher the chances to stay in the the healthy part of our life. So that's what I would say. Looking from the 5 layers point of view at the person, it's something very specific to the yoga therapy.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, it's funny because everyone says that.
Really?
But yeah. But yeah, it's true. I think it's because it's holistic. So what are key questions that when you do an intake? So as a yoga therapist, we do an intake of about 45 to 60 minutes, usually. A lot of questions, a lot of asking and trying to understand what is the underlying cause, but also what is the need of the client right now. So what are things that you look at, or do you want to take us through an intake?
The intake is one of my favorite parts, I would say.
You said.
And what I've learned during the case studies is that actually the intake is something that needs to be part of every session. Even if we did it at the beginning, and it was 45, 60 minutes, or for me, sometimes it takes even longer. Me
too in the beginning.
I allocate even 90 minutes, and even with 90 minutes, sometimes I realize,
feel like you're missing things.
Exactly, but then
that's the perfectionism.
Exactly, but then I say there's gonna be another session, so I have a few more questions.
Just rubbing her hands.
Exactly. So for me, the intake is something that I do at the beginning of each session. So even if it's the 3rd session, I always take 10 minutes, 15 minutes to speak to the person. I realize that sometimes what I found out in the first intake needs to be
eradicated,
almost forgotten, because the person is in a completely different state during the session that we have. Of course, the intake is super important because there are things that are constant. So if someone says about a chronic disease, it's gonna be there and it's gonna stay. It's not like it's gonna change for the 3rd or 4th session. So that's something that I always have in mind. But then, I realize if I meet with someone in the morning, it's different versus if I have a session in the evening. If the person says after this session I go to sleep, I choose to do something different versus if they say I'm going to work. Definitely.
Yeah.
If they say I had a very bad sleep last night versus I'm super rested, I feel energized, then it's gonna change, right? Even if in the intake I found out that they usually sleep very well, But if they come and they have a very, very specific issue because they are going through a certain period in their lives, then I need to adapt. So for me, the intake is the best part of it, because it also makes me very curious to find out more. So I always go, I take notes, and of course I don't know it all, because I'm not a doctor. Sometimes I don't understand all the terms that someone is using. Of course, I'm asking for the questions, but then I go and I do my own research, and I read about it, and I'm trying to make connections. I'm thinking, do I know someone who has something similar, and I can ask? Do I know someone who works with someone with a similar condition, and I can ask more? Do I need to go to the school, to the teachers, to my colleagues, and say, I have this on my table and I don't know exactly how to approach it? Do you have ideas? So this is why the intake is super important, and I love it because it's a challenge also for myself. And it's about connecting to people's stories, actually, which is mandatory, especially nowadays. I think it was always important, but now being heard, sharing the stories, I think it became even more important.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's nice, and nice way to see the story, because that connects you with them straight away, and then you understand what the undercurrent is, what's pushing them into their situation each time.
Yeah, sometimes I even start like this. So I ask in the intake, what's your story?
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, it's a nice way. It's a different way than saying, okay,
that's how I do the podcast. What's your story?
Exactly.
That's funny. Yeah. That's really great. And it makes it very casual and relaxed. Yeah,
and the intake, it's always accompanied by a tea or something which makes the atmosphere a bit more relaxed, informal. Of course, if you do it on Zoom, it changes, but I always tell people before the intake, it's going to be an informal conversation. I'll be listening, I'll be asking questions. You don't need to prepare, because they ask, what do I need to wear? It's like, you can wear your pajamas. Whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever's comfortable.
Exactly. You can be in your bed with a cup of tea, or with, I don't know, if you enjoy something else. Sometimes I say coffee, and then I realize, no, not coffee. It's gonna be energizing. So yeah, something which is calming, whatever makes you feel good. And it's different, of course. The feeling is different if you do it offline versus online. Yeah. But still, you can help anyway. We can help in any way, even if we do it in person or online.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. Where can we take this? And for you, do you look at the? So you just said you want to take the person where they need on that day, and you're keeping in mind what they need in the long term, like where you actually want to take them over the trajectory.
So look, with the intake, I can add a few things. I think the most important part is to know the contraindications. So if we know the contraindications based on what we find out in the intake, then we can go as creative as possible in the sessions. But this is the most important, leaving the joke aside. In the intake, I always, after I do the full intake, I try to synthesize things in 4 or 5 bullets for myself to make a bit of order in my head and say, okay, if I am to simplify this, what is it, the approach? And this is something which we've learned also by doing the case studies at the Yoga Therapy Institute. Okay, we go with a lot of information because that's the intake, and it can go in various ways. But then if I am to put it in 5 4 bullets. So what are the main things which I'm never gonna do with this person?
Mm-hmm.
What's the main need of the person?
Mm-hmm.
And then what are the tools? And this is something that I have as a guiding thing.
Yeah,
But
a
then with
structure. Yeah.
exactly, but then with each session, I do the 5, 10, 15 minutes conversation. I have the contraindications and in mind, and I start from there.
Mm-hmm.
And in most of the cases, I don't need to come up with something because the
No,
person
it
knows
happens. Yeah.
the person knows very very well what they need. And if you ask, I'm trying to have this coaching approach without saying I think you need this. I ask them, I go to their wisdom layer
Mm-hmm.
and I say, what do you think that you need now? And
Yeah.
they say, I feel overwhelmed. I feel that I need this. And then I just need to push the buttons and see, okay, what are the tools in my toolkit for this
Yeah.
specific need? I don't
Yeah.
need to come. This is the thing that I love at yoga therapy. I don't need to come with a plan.
Mm. Yeah, no,
Thank
it's
God.
on the spot. Yeah, and
Thank God.
it's I think the most important thing that I find when I reflect upon other modalities, especially just conventional doctors, they have their prescription idea. This is this, so we give you that, or you do that. Whereas this is a constant conversation. Like you say, you do the check-in, but you checking in all the time. No?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, every practice you ask them, how did that feel, or what came up, and from that you take the next step. So I think
Yeah.
that's what's so powerful about yoga therapy. And we have so many tools. We have like thousands of tools, and you can mix up the ratios, you can mix up the combination of meditation with the pranayama, with the movement, with the mudras, with the chanting,
Yeah,
sound.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the thing that I always have in mind is that less is more. So I don't
Yeah.
need to do all of them. At the beginning,
No.
when I started studying, I was like, can I do only this? I mean, full session only with breathing, but is it gonna be appreciated? Is it gonna work? Is it gonna? And then I realized, and we've been told in all the possible ways that less is more. Less
Yeah.
is more.
Yeah.
You don't need to go through like I've been learning in the teacher training, the classical one. Oh, the structure is this. You need to start like this. You need to go like that. You need to end up like that, and you need to go through all this flow. No, you don't need to with
You
yoga.
mean a normal yoga class? The
Yeah,
vinyasa,
exactly.
or yeah.
Exactly. And even there, I think, even a normal class, I see it now with a different lens.
Yeah.
So what? What if in the manual was like this? I know the tools. I know the tools. Okay, it's good to know the routines, what the books are saying, but then it's about finding our voice, our style as not as teachers, because I don't see ourselves as teachers. I don't see myself as a
Mm.
teacher. I'm
Well,
just
it's
a
two
guide.
different roles. It's totally different roles.
I'm just
Yeah.
facilitating the space
Mm.
for people to express and to feel safe, actually,
Yeah.
to express both my body and mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Anca, for all this beautiful wisdom of yours, and your enthusiasm. So Anca's just had a baby 3 weeks ago. So she's a new mum. That's your first child.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was
Okay.
fun.
Yeah. So she was happy to come on and speak about something else, doing something else with nappies, breastfeeding, and staying awake.
Yeah, actually, I've been doing this through my whole pregnancy. I've been very, very active.
Mm-hmm.
I've been teaching a lot. I've been guiding many classes, one-on-one classes, yoga therapy. I've been writing a lot. So it was a time with a lot of inspiration, the nine
Good.
months.
Beautiful.
And now I feel the same thing. I feel inspired. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, time is not the same, but I do have a lot of help,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone around me is supporting and just pushing me to do. If you need to do something, just go there. We're there in charge. Don't worry. So this is a
Great.
very, very comforting thought for me.
Yeah. You have the village.
Exactly. The community is open.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. Do you want to leave us with a practice?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to do so.
That's a nice way to end.
What would you say?
I don't know. What have we been talking about? What would go well with our talk as a practice?
So I think we've been talking a bit before about responsibility, when talking about this podcast. So I think many of us are struggling now with overwhelm, personal, professional, and also it links very well with how it started for myself.
Okay.
So as I was saying, coming back to the roots. So if you agree, I can take you through a very, very short practice, which relates to tension, to managing responsibility.
I'd love that.
Yeah. So how I would start this, I will invite everyone who's listening to us to stand up a bit. Yes, let's stand up. So even if you're just gonna be hearing me, just so you know, I'm also doing it. It's useful also for myself. So you are invited to stand up, to feel a bit your feet on the ground. If you have any shoes, I highly recommend this to be removed. Just feel the ground through your feet and feel then the lengthening through your spine, through the crown of your head. Exactly. Just notice a bit your breathing, notice the body, and notice maybe all the thoughts that are going now through your mind. Being just like a witness. Don't try to label them, don't try to solve any issues that you're now encountering. We're not going to be staying here for long because I would like to move a bit. We've been sitting along, maybe you've been listening this. So just feel free to start moving your arms a bit up. And inhale and exhale, bring the arms down. Do the breathing just the way you want and just bring your arms up and exhale, go down. Or maybe you want to bring arms halfway and then go down. Find just what's the most suitable for you. And then you can start having a freestyle movement, just releasing. Maybe you want to shake your hands, just be mindful about your wrists. Maybe you want to balance a bit. Maybe you want to shake your hips. Maybe you want to do some hips rotations. Just feel a bit like you're moving all the energy in your body into movement. Maybe you want to feel like you're doing a walk in the park. I don't know, just move your hands. Just let the body express as like if you're dancing, let's say. Shake if you want. If you want to leave the shoulders, like you're removing all the burden, and slowly come up. Then move again with your arms. Maybe you want to draw something with your arms. Maybe you want to have a big heart in front of you. Maybe you want to bring something from the earth to the sky, from the sky to the earth. Yes. Just move like no one's watching. Dance like no one's watching. If you want to have your eyes closed or your eyes open, just make sure you're stable in your posture. And of course, all those movements, if standing is not possible, can be done also sitting on a chair. You can move with the upper part of your body and then shake your feet, shake your ankles. Just be intuitive about the way you want to move. And then when you feel all the movements were completed, you can have a moment standing or on your chair, eyes closed or open, or you have a neutral look towards the ground. Just feel a bit the body now. How is it different from when we started this practice? If there is anything that we have removed, any tension. And then, because usually tension, as it was also in my case, is felt on the shoulders, we'll just focus on the shoulder area and do a bit of movement with the shoulders, like bringing the shoulders closer to our ears and then bringing the shoulder blades together. Moving up and then back and down, opening the chest. You can do the movement, eyes closed or open. Simply bring the shoulders close to your ears and then release slowly. Open the chest. You can combine the movement with the breathing. You can inhale while bringing the shoulders next to your ears. Exhale and open the chest. And one more time, we do the same. And then we release. Again, take a moment to notice all your focus is on the shoulders and the shoulder blades area. Use this moment to inhale deeply and to exhale between your lips. It's something that at the Yoga Therapy Institute we call the magical breath. With the inhale on the nose and exhale. One more time, you inhale and you exhale. Slowly open your eyes, still close, and bring your right palm on your left shoulder and slowly do a self-massage here as if you're massaging your best friend. Maybe you want to tap your shoulder, telling yourself that it's all fine. You did a great job for today. Maybe you feel the muscles here are a bit tense, but you just keep massaging or doing the self-tapping. You can go with the palm on the arm and just massage also your arm, your forearm, the palm, the fingers. And then slowly release, and you just do the same. Left palm on your right shoulder and do a self-massage here. Very, very slowly. Maybe you notice differences between the left and the right shoulder. Maybe there's a bigger burden on the right side. And then you just continue massaging your arm, your forearm. Just feel your wrists. Maybe you need to support a bit your wrists. And then massage the fingers. Start with the pinky one and then release, and you bring both palms together and feel the palms here in contact. Slowly release. If you were standing, you can go and have a sit. maybe on the chair, maybe on the bed. Just take a moment to reconnect with the body. You are invited to notice the shoulder area that we've been focusing on, but also move with your attention towards the hips, the knees, the feet. Feel the feet in the contact with the ground, and imagine that the ground is opening and all this responsibility, all this burden, all the overwhelm, all the work, the hard work that you've been doing today or in the last week, the last month, maybe the last year, the last years of your life. Feel that everything is melting through your feet. The ground is opening and you inhale, and on the exhale, all this burden is going towards the feet. You inhale from the crown of your head, and then on the exhale, the breathing is moving towards the feet. And with each exhale, you remove this feeling of being heavy. You inhale a bit of peace and quiet, and you exhale all the noise, all the responsibility, all the tension. And for the final part, just experience the difference between feeling tense and relaxed. Inhale and tense your body, tense your palms, tense your feet. And exhale, slowly release. Once again, inhale and tense the body. And exhale, release. And the last time, inhale, tense everything in the body. And exhale, release. And stay with this feeling of easiness, of ease, because we've been talking about ease. Choose to stay with this ease and to remove the unease. We'll finish by giving ourselves a hug. You can hug yourself, hug your shoulders, hug your torso. Again, tap yourself and tell yourself you've been doing a great job during this session. Thank you for listening. You can slowly open your eyes and welcome back. Namaste.
That was very needed for me. I love that. It was good because it was very physical. Yeah, and free.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can say the same. It was very needed for myself.
I can imagine. Yeah, the body goes through so many changes during pregnancy. It's incredible. First your stomach is up here and then it just drops back down there.
Yeah, it's out of control. It's the I always say after the 9 months, if you want to test your controlling.
It's actually 10 months because you go the full 9 months.
Yeah, exactly. It's the best test that one can have in terms of control.
Yeah.
Forget about controlling things because it's no longer control is no longer in your hands with a pregnancy.
No, for the next 10 years.
and then exactly.
Yeah. I'm finally getting some of my life back. No, I'm joking. But what I wanted to say, could you please explain why this out breath? Because I noticed you're doing a lot of the sighing. Why is it a magical breath when we breathe out through the mouth, just for listeners?
So when we breathe out through the mouth, we are able to do the exhalation longer.
Mm-hmm.
You will notice if you do the test between exhaling on your nose and exhaling on your mouth, you will, at least I always notice for myself that the exhalation is longer when I use the
out breath
out breath.
on the mouth.
Then doing the sound. So if you allow yourself to do the sound like something which are not very much allowed to do, right? We need to show that we can do more, that we can
control.
We can control, exactly. So we need to be there without showing our weaknesses. I feel like when we do this, we show we're human. We are allowed to sigh, so we are allowed to
release tension,
to release. And actually, there is also a link between this long exhalation, which works a lot with the parasympathetic nervous system and with our relaxation response. It looks like we're triggering the relaxation response more with this by focusing on the exhalation
and by making sound.
By making sound, exactly. We're also activating the vagus nerve, which is the 10th, the longest nerve in our body, the 10th cranial nerve, which has a lot to do with the way we feel. So many benefits for practicing the out breath, and I love it. It works like magic for myself, and with my hyperachiever, hyperactive way of being, it helped me a lot, like sending to my brain the message that it's okay to cool down.
Yeah. Okay, Anca, please leave your contact, your website, anything that you're doing, your work. Just plug it in here, and I'll put it in the show notes for everyone to find you. Yeah,
I'm more than happy. My community is called Yoga for Body Mind with Anca. You will find me on Facebook. I have a website which is called ancaella.com. But I'll make sure I also write it down, because with my name, sometimes it gets it's not that easy. But yeah, and on Instagram I'm Anca Ella, because my name is Anca Elena. So Ella comes from Elena. It's a short way of saying it. And I'm more than happy to stay close to you, to your community, and to exchange. We have many things to exchange in order to grow this yoga therapy.
Yeah, I think we can serve a lot of people that way. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, Anca, have a wonderful evening. And thank you for being here. I really enjoyed it. It was lovely meeting you.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's a
great and you for turning up so early, like so short notice. Thank you.
Not a problem. I'm there's only one thing that I'm focusing now, the baby, but I also have help. So as I was mentioning, it was the right time now.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, it was definitely the right time.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll keep in touch. I'll let you know when it's up. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. So thank you for listening all the way to the end of the podcast. For those of you who don't know, I've also got a Facebook group. It's called Yoga for Emotional Empowerment and Health. So it's all about learning different tools for different emotions and understanding them in relation to Ayurvedic elements and principles, so you can really quickly self-regulate yourself. So weekly I do a live for 10, 15 to 20 minutes where I explain about different emotions, also anxiety and depression. So please join there, and I will put a link to the Facebook group in the notes. Website, I also have a lot of blogs and articles, resources that you can download, PDFs, which will help you deal better with emotional life and turn those emotions from a sea of emotions which you feel totally out of control in, to actually transforming your life and feeling empowered, feeling that you are alive and passionate and that you understand what emotions are trying to tell you and how you can move with them rather than against them or suppressing them. Okay, much love to you and be well. See you next week, or hear from me next week in any case. Bye.